Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar where we take a look at our Smarter range of CPD solutions. My name is Aaron Dunn and I'm joined today by David Davine, our Sales and Development Manager. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks to, we'll be right to technology's challenges are over with and we're off and racing.
Yeah, excellent. So today, as we obviously hit the end of the financial year, is to give you a bit of an update in the context of what Smarter SMSF is doing in the CPD space and our solutions that are available to support you and your business. So in today's session, we're going to take a bit of a look at the ongoing challenges that we have in this space around the ever-growing changes in superannuation. We'll touch a little bit about on us and who we are and what we do in this space, at naturally how we deliver the training, and then we'll set some expectations with you as to what you get as a member, what you'll receive on an ongoing basis. And then we're really going to start deep diving into the platform and helping you to navigate around the access to course content, webinar content, and other materials as well. And then I guess as we wrap up, we'll discuss a little bit about our subscription packages, I should say, and then some examples of the journey that we've seen different users come on where they've signed up to our CPD solutions. And as is always the way, if you do have any questions along the way, you can sort of come back to us and we'd be happy to answer any of those for you. Now, when it comes to the ongoing challenges of superannuation, we do know that keeping up to date still remains the biggest challenge. And this is not only at the top of the tree, when we look at partners and principals and other business owners, but it's how we can actually bring that information right through the organization. So currency of knowledge, not only at potentially one individual, but how that actually relates into the entire team. And this has been a constant for some period of time now. And this is naturally because of the fact that we know that things continue to move. And we've seen in the most recent federal budget, of course, there's the proposed measures around the $3 million threshold for an additional earnings tax. We've seen changes around the non-arm's length expenditure provisions and what that is entailing from the 1st of July, 2023. And all those things are therefore relevant in the context of our client relationships that we have, and therefore making sure that we can stay up to date is absolutely paramount. And it's that timing and delivery of that content that then becomes so important, because it's not only identifying the issues, but also potentially the opportunities that we might have to take advantage of, right, say in the lead up to 30 June or potentially just thereafter as well. And this comes back to that comment I made earlier on about saying, well, it's fine to maybe send one person off and touch on the topics and potentially identify some of those issues, but how is that knowledge then being transferred and filtered throughout the organization? So who's the one that's gaining the knowledge, and then how is that being applied across the organization so that those that need to know this information know it, understand it, and then can apply it in their particular role? And naturally, we know that a range of people have ongoing, continuing professional development obligations, and therefore ensuring that you can satisfy the various professional bodies that you might have, maybe in public practice, maybe as a financial advisor, maybe as a tax practitioner, maybe with the SMSF Association, the FAAA, and so forth. There are a broad range of professional bodies and knowledge areas that we need to be across, and therefore ensuring that you can tick all of those boxes is of absolute importance. David, anything you want to add there, I guess, in the ongoing discussions that you have with practitioners that are constantly looking at these challenges in the CPD space?
Yes, Aaron, thank you. It's not just the hours as a requirement that's important. It's actually about the content, and that's what we're all about. I often get feedback, and in particular, we had a face-to-face event in one of the states earlier in the year, and one of those participants, in following up some resources with him, he made comment that sitting in that session and with his peers and interacting with both yourself and Tim, he immediately had all these light globes came on and said, and he made comment to me that it was a fantastic technical session where I've got all these clients looking for a particular information, and I'm dealing with all these sorts of issues, and straight away I was able to apply the knowledge to all these scenarios. So it does go deeper than just ticking a box about CPD and the hours that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess why Smarter SMSF, we have a very deliberate business model in this space where we are all about leveraging both our SMSF specialization to benefit you, but also the technology that we have in place on our platform. So that enables you to really focus on what you need to do, but there is a level of trust to be able to access this. And that's why we have these subscription packages, whether it's with our training or our documents, that enable you to tap into that expertise, but do it as efficiently and as cost effectively as possible. Now, we've been around for quite a while now, obviously in the education space, formerly of the SMSF Academy, but we have clients all around Australia that we support, both in terms of our education, but also in the context of our documents, and whether people are doing this in a pay-as-you-go basis or whether they're doing it via subscription, and most likely bundles of subscriptions, because it's quite common that we see people that if they're taking on, say, one part of our subscription services, in particular with our documents, the fact that education plays a crucial role in the ongoing operation of the business, and therefore with their SMSF clients, we do typically see firms look to bundle up some of those packages around that services that we provide at Smarter SMSF. Now, we are also an accredited educator with the SMSF Association, only one of 5 or 6 in this space. And I guess this is a really important thing to be looking out for when you're looking for education and training in this space, because what this accreditation process requires us to do and really acknowledges is that we are a provider in the SMSF education space that is perceived in the eyes of the association as being one that upholds very high standards in this space, and therefore is something that we are set apart from others who may just look to provide SMSF education here. And that really comes into the breadth of offering that we do, but the technical competency that also comes with it. And therefore, when we look at the outcomes for our clients, what we do see is an absolute confidence in the way in which they can engage with their clients. And therefore, as long as we're keeping them up to date, it allows those individuals and the firm more broadly to focus on what they can obviously do best. And if you want to find out more, I guess, about us as an accredited educator, we've got the link on the page there to be able to do so as well. David, I might, anything else you wanted to add in respect to that? No.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think one of the big changes as well this year within the Smarter SMSF business is the introduction of Tim Miller into our team, and Tim now heads up our technical and education as our technical and education manager. So this is a huge advantage, I guess, within our business now, where myself and Tim, both as fellow SMSF specialists, obviously bring together probably 40, maybe David even getting close to 50 years of combined SMSF experience, where we've seen just about everything that could be seen in this space. And that in itself is really important when we engage with our members, whether it is through the delivery of training, whether it's through technical support, the way in which we build content, because we are fortunate that we are very close to the regulators, we are very close to our member associations, and we do get asked for feedback on an ongoing basis on issues that are relevant to the SMSF sector. And it's that type of information that we then like to share and best prepare our members in the way in which the laws are currently applying, may look to apply in the future, and therefore helping to navigate their way through those ongoing challenges that we spoke about earlier. So it's been a fantastic addition to the team. I know many of our members have been getting the benefits of listening to Tim in a lot of our regular webinars. Quite often we might sort of tag team together, both in our SMSF days, of course, where we work through face-to-face content, case studies and the like, but also in our technical updates. And you'll see us a lot more in course content and live virtual masterclasses as well. So David, I'm going to get you to talk a little bit about the delivery of our training, and then I'll touch on some of the changes that we're going to be making as part of Tim coming on for the upcoming year as well.
Thank you, Aaron. So this is all about how we deliver CPD. So the delivery of CPD training is throughout the year. It is over a range of delivery methods. And as we go through this slide, you'll see that come through. It's not just for our members, but it's actually for those who come across an event and they may want to purchase the actual webinar as an example, or to attend a session, a face-to-face event, or even an online course. So it is open and flexible on how you can participate in the CPD training. And even today being a product demonstration, you've come across the event and enrolled for it. With our webinars, they are live, they are accredited training, 15 hours of CPD per annum. It's provided monthly. And I've also just add that there's a quarterly update, which is covering 8 hours of CPD accredited training, 1 hour webinars. And you think, well, hang on, there's 8 hours. There's actually a workbook, resources that's also provided. So you can understand the issues and take away a learning through that particular avenue. If you miss an event, be it that you are a member or a non-member and you've purchased or enrolled in a particular event, it will, our system's designed that it will remind you that you didn't attend, and it will send you the opportunity to look at the slides and possibly the recording. If you are a member, it will be placed into your learning library or the platform that you can go there at a later time to log in, and we'll see when we get to the live demo session that we can see where the webinars are placed, housed, and to undertake some assessment to be allocated the CPD and the certificate.
Yeah, so one of the things that you can see here with the webinars is we are going to make a little bit of a strategic shift from delivering webinars every month. We know there are, the ability to access webinars is a lot more available than potentially it's ever been before. But that doesn't mean that we're kind of reducing the amount of hours. In fact, we're actually going to be increasing the amount of hours in the way in which we deliver content. So what we have done as part of the feedback from our members over the past 6 months or so since we've added Tim on board is to think about the way in which content is delivered and the tools that people want to be able to support that as well. So whilst we're going to continue to deliver our quarterly Changing Face of SMSF, and as David said, it will provide around 8 hours worth of content year on year, we're not going to, in essence, be delivering a specialist topic each and every month that sits around that. Therefore, what we are going to be doing, though, is we're going to be delivering some live virtual masterclasses, and these will most likely appear 3 times a year, in addition to our SMSF days, which are around March, April every year as well. And the idea is that we'll be deep diving more into topics to enable you to better understand them. They'll be case study driven, and they will come with additional things to help you understand those topics, whether it is in the context of checklists, whether it might be workbooks, flow charts, and the like as well. This is what the feedback has been from our clients, our members, about how we can give you more to be able to access this information and help you better understand many of these topics. This feedback we also got through our SMSF day. The case study concert that we have was hugely successful. So you will note this year, and we're going to be sending out messages to our members in the coming week or so, just to explain some of these strategic changes. Our commitment is obviously what we say in the number of hours. We just feel that we'll be making some minor tweaks to that to better deliver these specialist topics for you. And as has been the case, we'll continue to do some of our promotional webinars, things like the federal budgets, our top 5 strategies and those sorts of things as well. And as you can see on the bottom of the slide here, part of Tim coming into the business is we are not only looking at improvements and changes around our SMSF Foundations course, but we'll be kind of taking that next leap and building the next stage of our e-based learning, where we'll have an advisor level or at a more advanced course, where that will actually be mapped towards the SSA specialization with the SMSF Association, where there may be then credits applied towards obtaining that SSA. So you will see as we move into the 2023-2024 year, a couple of strategic changes, nothing sort of no major overhaul, but a couple of really interesting things that we think will improve the offering even further and give you more value for your subscriptions. So David, what about our, as we move across the SMSF Foundations course?
All right. On this particular topic, Aaron, I'll just point out that there is actually a dedicated webinar on this very foundation course, because there's quite a lot of detail that we go through and actually the learning environment as well. So, but for now, as a high level, it is for new staff members joining a practice or existing practitioners. We have nearly every day I get an inquiry about this particular course from new staff members, be it it could be actually an overseas team member joining. It could be somebody in a new licensee that's come on board, working with the compliance teams that they've approved this course as well. So it does cater for a large volume of people. There's 7 modules that make up the course. It is remote access. It's at your own pace. The system's designed that it will work out and understand your learning needs. So in terms of your pace, if you exit at a certain time, it will continue on from where you left off. That's most important. There's a number of hours that are awarded at the end of the course. It is a combination of interactive learning and validation of learning, both inside each of the 7 modules, and an assessment at the end of each module as you work through the course. A certificate is available upon completion, and we'll look at that actually as a part of our live session in a moment, that how the system works with looking up CPD certificates. You've got options then to expand the course. And in fact, I had a conversation with someone yesterday who only has 2 weeks remaining of the course with 3 months, usually the duration, and they're not going to finish. So I understand from a point of view that there are life distractions out there, especially at this time of the year. So I was able to allocate a couple of more weeks, and they were very motivated to continue the course, which is what it's all about, that engagement piece. So they actually don't sort of leave the course halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. They actually do get to complete it and have some reward at the end of that through learning. There is a number of resources a part of this course, which we'll look at in the Knowledge Base Centre in a moment. And we've put that date there because I understand both Tim and Aaron are actually underway now to look at updating and maintaining the course. And that's very crucial, that if you undertake a course, it is current in relation to the legislation that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes to what I was just saying on the previous slide as well, is that part of, with Tim coming in, we are looking at a range of these education pieces in the business, and that not only applied to our CPD solutions, but also in respect to our course, where we are going through a process at the moment of saying, well, is this part of the course a foundations part, or is it maybe as part of an advisor course? Because what naturally happens over time is you can continue to build out content, and you can start to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, obviously with the specialist knowledge that we have. So part of what we're going to do is obviously build out that advisor level course, and arguably just peel this course back a little bit so that it is truly reflective of a foundations level course. We get a lot of feedback that it is hugely advantageous to the users. Again, as you touched on, David, the foundations course is a separate webinar, and we are running this at the end of next month to go through the updates. But the economics of the benefits of people coming on board are, we're talking about $5,000 or $6,000 for a manager. It's accelerating about a month of onboarding learning, and that's why we're not only got access via our own platform, but for much larger firms, there's the ability to even plug this into your own learning management system, which we do for other organizations, so that they can control the 20, 30, 40, 100 staff that might need to go through the course content as well.
Yep. And I've had managers, one particular large business with 15 staff members going through this particular course at the moment. It said to me, I don't have the time and I don't have the knowledge to cover every aspect of SMSF, whereas this course gives that great foundation to go and have that confidence for the staff to go away and undertake this course. In that particular business as well, I'm actually producing reports from a progress perspective for each of the team members as well, and that's something we can do for those larger firms.
Yep. So David, just before we kind of go into the platform, let's just have a quick discussion as to what someone expects when they become a CPD member.
Yep. So if you are a CPD member, you will be receiving, and it's important to have your emails validated, and that's important that you are getting those emails not through the junk folder. As a member, you'll get reminders approaching every single event. So it's not just the CPD ones, it's all of those events that we're put on. So it could be a webinar, it could be a face-to-face event, or it could be the workshops. Those reminder emails will appear a week before and prior to the event. Usually we've designed it for one-click registration. So if you've got your email, you'll see that and go, oh, I've completely forgot about that event coming up. Better register for that. And then prior to the actual session, you will receive another email with a copy of the slides and any resources that are a part of that particular session. So if you are attending the session, you'll have all that materials with you. If you are unable to make it, we'll see that when we get to the platform shortly, it is actually stored in your library for a later time. And post-event, you'll receive further email contact from us. It could be about a survey or other instructions relating to the webinar. It could be further workbooks or other materials that have been updated.
Yep, absolutely.
Crucially, it's all about the CPD and getting that. If you are attending that live event, the certificate will be generated and emailed to you as a member. As I mentioned, if you're not able to attend that event, it will be stored for you to complete the assessment and the quiz at a later time, where you'll have access to download the CPD certificate. And also a look at a dashboard of how many hours you've undertaken and what other events are in that library, including previous CPD events. So you've got access to literally a library of learning.
Yep.
It contains things like workbooks, checklists, flowcharts, something that since Tim's come on board, the case studies have been a very, very big success, with a lot of in-depth knowledge around about the particular subjects. And it's all available to download via the platform through a login. Understanding that those who need CPD, it's actually for the individual. We've had, well, I guess the multi-factor authentication has filtered out those who once had perhaps around a boardroom with a number of people watching the webinar and getting the CPD, but it's actually allocated to the individual, which is what it's made to be.
Yep. So let's jump in and have a look now at the site and I guess what people need to expect. So David, I might bring the screen up and then get you to talk and I guess navigate me through where you want to go and
Sure.
I guess what we're looking for.
So we've got a login and we've literally clicked on a link through the Smarter SMSF website. We've arrived at the Learn section of the platform, not the document section. That's the document section, as we'll see in another webinar, is a purple color. So we're in the right area under the green. We've got straight away a number of menus. There's more than one way of getting to the same spot. There's a menu on the left-hand side. I'm just going to talk as an overview firstly. The middle of the screen is about those events that you've actually purchased or you're undertaking at the moment. And on the right-hand side, there is a dashboard, a summary of courses you've completed, number of hours, certificates available, and that under your courses section, you can see an expansion of, in this case here, a couple of webinars that have been completed and a certificate is available. So we'll look at that in a bit more detail in a moment. So it's a dashboard with your hours, the sessions you're enrolled in or purchased, but I usually drive from the left-hand side. So if we click on that Learn section, it does expand out to courses, which are in the middle of the screen. We can click on that courses if you like. And these are the ones that have been purchased and you're currently undertaking, enrolled, or have in fact completed. As an example, the SMSF Day 2023, it was open for actually 3 months. Those who have completed and gone through the 4 modules and completed that, you can still, as you can see here, you can still gain access to the resources. Aaron has actually clicked on that the SD23, and you can see the course content. So it's laid out very well to navigate. You click on, and you can see the lessons. You can see the assessment under each piece. If you go into and click on that, you can actually start the you can see the learning environment. So it's asking to continue on where you've left off. It's a series of slides. It has a narration with, in this case here, both Tim and Aaron. You've got a mini navigation of being able to fast forward, stop, rewind. If you need to go back and look at that slide again. You can see the presentation information at the top of that screen. There's also a resource button under all of the screens, which will go through for you to access either a workbook or the case study, to open, to download, to work with the narration of each of the slides. And that's deliberate, so you can work through and gain an understanding of the issues and the learning. A navigation on the right-hand side also of each of the slides. So that progresses through. As I said, you can exit out. It will automatically work out where you've left off to continue. It is remote learning. It's across a range of devices. So it's not just a desktop, tablet device, mobile phone. Aaron's looking through the detail of the case studies. Something that's just come to mind with the foundation course. Some of those modules are over 200 pages. So it's, there's quite a lot of content that's available at your fingertips through each of the courses.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's the courses. If you want to look at, we'll just wait for that. So we've gone through that. Let's move through Learn and have a look at the webinars. So this is that library I was talking about that as a member, you were unable to, you've got that one-click registration and then you've completely forgotten about the next day, a little bit too many meetings, appointments. So the sessions run, and here in this listing of all the sessions, you can go back and select the session that you want to actually complete. It'll give you a summary, and you can click on the plus sign to look at what that module is about. If you click on that changing face of SMSF for June, you can see if you click on it, it actually comes up with a welcome screen, bit of a navigation, and then you can commence underneath the content with the slide, the narration. Again, you've got that ability to look at the additional resources and materials through slides, workbooks, could be flowcharts, could be case studies. The progression is always on the screen of where you've gone through, of what and how you're progressing through. Ultimately, it will be marked as completed. If there is an assessment piece underneath, you can open that up. So yeah, there's in this case here, you've got Tim presenting. That's a bit of an idea of what the workbooks are looking like. So underneath, once you've completed watching the presentation, the webinar, you can do the assessment. So with the assessment, you've got two chances of working through the material for the assessment piece. 80% pass mark. If it just so happens that you're unable to be successful, there's ways of getting in contact with us through email, telephone, to work through. If you've got questions about the material, there's ways of, again, contacting us to get further detailed explanations. So ultimately, that you're successful in the assessment piece, you are awarded the CPD allocation. And if you have completed this particular,
I'm just trying to find one, David. So
yeah, that's right.
that's what I'm just looking for one.
Yep.
Let's do this one here because I've got the related parties one. So,
so if you can go back into that, and you can see that once the accreditation has been awarded, and that can be an online course, as in the foundation course or the SMSF day webinars, you can see there is a link at the top saying download the CPD certificate. It's got your name, the session, and a breakdown of the knowledge areas and the hours that are allocated. So that is all housed inside the platform. And on that left-hand menu, there is a way under My Account that you can actually go to under My Account that will expand into a CPD log. So you can see where everything is totaled and housed at the time of audit as well. All right. A few other things to look at is the knowledge base. So this is an additional area of resources under the knowledge base area. This will, this is a way of looking at not so much the resources that are relative to the actual event. This is generic help guides, other webinars as well that are a part of this. So if you went up on the menu line to Smarter SMSF platform, as an example, it's you can go through navigation and look at webinars on the left-hand side. You can see that as member, you'll have access to the resources. All the webinars are in here, not just those from the CPD allocation inside your platform, but these are ones that may not have a CPD allocation. So it's about a product, how to, well, in fact, the knowledge base is actually in here as well. Courses, there's user guides, that if you know, the links weren't working through an email, then you can go into this resource area. Or if you've you're working through and you think, well, there might be a change in here, I need to reference that, you can go into the knowledge base, look at the course content or a webinar to see the latest version of the material you're seeking.
Yeah, so that's a really important thing, because what we do is, given we are maintaining currency of content, we might have people that are working through the course and either want to go back to address those issues, or they might have the ongoing add-on, which enables them to go in and have a look. So you can see in here, we then have updates to, in this instance, module 3 quite extensively. There were changes from the 1st of July 2022. So that information has been uploaded in here so that you can go back and understand what those changes were. So we will do that each and every time on the 1st of July each year, so that we are across, or you are across, most importantly, what changes have been made within the course, and therefore what you may want to go back and review as a result of those proposed changes. So that changelog, as you saw before, there was a similar one done in July of 2021, because of course we released the course in 2020. So there's a number of things that you'll see, again, mostly around contributions, maybe in tax and pensions and the like as well. So we'll always maintain the knowledge base to enable you to come in and look up things, whether it is in respect to the learning, whether it is in respect to ordering documents and with sample documents, or whether it is in respect to integrations and the like as well. So you can start to see a number of these things and articles to make yourself aware of, so that if you aren't sure, you can always come in and check out this knowledge base to get you going. But I think, David, the other thing there was just to note, again, you can search over topics as well. So if you wanted to look up, binding death benefit nomination and something that might have related to that, well, then you'll be able to find that information. So it's fully searchable. What we do when we look at the topics and stuff in here is we'll make obviously detailed descriptions of what it relates to. If we think there's any benefit in adding some search terms, we can do those sorts of things into here as well to obviously help you find the particular topics that you might be looking for. And again, subject to the content that we have in here, if we take a look at, for example, our tax planning module, tax planning webinar, I should say, we did build a comprehensive checklist that came with that. So you'll be able to see in the materials, and you've got access to the resources as part of that, in which you can then download that checklist and make use of it with your clients. So there's always I guess, a process around what we build and how we build it and what we make available as part of these sessions. And therefore you can go into the materials of that particular session to gain access to the slides and the checklists, even though we do send them out prior to the sessions ordinarily commencing.
So those who even this week were to take up a subscription with the CPD, I'll have a chat to them and say, well, did you realize you've got access to that past catalogue of
Yep.
learning? And in particular, what you've just shown there back in May, the tax planning webinar with the 39-page checklist. And
Yep.
people are very surprised. They go, wow, that's fantastic. Wasn't even aware of it. So there's other benefits of, other than looking forward, there are some topics in the past through that catalogue that might be of some use.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing just worth noting from a support point of view is you always have, with that knowledge base, you have the ability to look up things through here. So you can also type in here user guide and search for it, and you'll see that come up there. So you'll be able to quickly access that. If you have questions, you can log tickets with us in here, other inquiries, and then that will go into the ticketing system to enable that to be answered on a timely basis by any one of the team. And equally, under the support area, you can do the same thing there, where you can also make that request with the Help Scout ticket. Don't know why that didn't go across anyway, but the idea is then you can then track the tickets from that point. And if you have multiple tickets and get those answers that you need to, equally, you can just email support@smartersmsf.com to gain access as well. So David, anything else there before we go back to the slides?
I think we'll be probably right to go back to the slides.
Yep, cool. Right, so hand back to you around some of the benefits around the subscription.
Yes, so with the as a member, you've got priority access to those webinars and events. So you'll get information prior to other releases of information. So in particular, there are, as we saw this year at the face-to-face events, there were a limited number of spots, and they were taken up quite quickly by the members because they saw the value of what those workshops are all about, but also the fact that they had the first dibs basically on those events. Along with that, there is also an opportunity to purchase face-to-face events or other courses and webinars at a member's price, which is usually available for a limited time. and that information was always released to the members first.
Yep.
The access to that platform, as we see, the members have access to that secured environment with those playbacks all available. If you're unable to attend those live events, they're all there in your library to access at a later time. And we saw that we're able to access the slides and workbooks, and importantly, undertake the quiz and the assessment to gain access to the award of the CPD certificates, which are also housed in that environment. Yes, so a number of members have further team members joining the organisation, and that's where they will ask it, because through our engagement pieces, I get a number of calls about other courses and other webinars and other events taking place. You've got your own access to the certificates and logs, and we've seen that there may be occasions, as in the live workshops that occurred early in the year. Both Tim and Aaron gathered a lot of information from those live workshops and actually put that back into the online courses. So they were evolved and expanded upon. And those who had purchased the course or were members had the opportunity to look at that additional material. And that's something else that, there's a lot of information in a live event or a workshop, and having that opportunity to go back at your own pace through this learning environment is important, that you can go back and look further and with the resources available to have that learning and understanding to be able to apply the knowledge to perhaps situations with clients.
Yeah, and I think that's a good reference point, obviously, with the masterclasses as well, is that as access to those as part of the subscription means that you'll be able to go back and watch those recordings at a future point in time as well, because you might come up against that particular reference point or something with a client situation and go, oh, actually, I remember, Tim spoke about that or Aaron spoke about that in that particular topic, and having access to the platform there, as you saw with the materials, we feel is a distinct advantage. And I guess what we've done here is just a workflow or a diagram to help you work through as to what might be the most appropriate way to come up with a CPD solution that suits you or your business. And you can see here there are a number of products that we ultimately have, and I might sort of skip forward and then backwards again, but we in essence provide for what we see as just access to a quarterly update, or otherwise you have access to all of our ongoing online CPD training. Now, whether that is done individually or whether that is done for the purpose of the business is something that you would then need to analyze yourself and or have a conversation with us to help understand the level of training and support that you'd ultimately need in your business. So, David, is there anything you wanted to add, I guess, in either this slide or obviously just a bit about the subscription packages as well?
Yeah, it's about having that need, how to fulfill that need. Well, through those series of questions, you can filter through to understand, well, the need is for a number of hours and the depth of the type of training you require. And you'll automatically, through our matrix there, arrive at a package, which you then can move on to through that next slide as an example, and our website, which goes into further detail about each of those packages. There's a cost there, there's a saving component of around about 16% if you go annually versus monthly, but it's working through how can you address that need of CPD is important. And if there's something on that table from a larger business, then that's where we can have a chat and work through exactly what the needs are for each of your team members.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have an offer as part of our end of financial year there. So if you have any interest around that, you can take advantage of that offer, I guess, between now and this Friday, obviously 30 June. where in essence, if you have that subscription on either a monthly basis or an annual basis, we will give you that 1 month free. Annual, it'll be your 13-month free. If it's quarterly, if it's monthly, I should say, you'll get that first month free as well. So you'll be able to apply that coupon code inside the cart when you purchase that online. And you'll hear from David in essence to make sure that you get underway. I guess, David, the one thing that I wanted to, just as we sort of get towards the end of today's session, is just provide some context around the different scenarios that we see with the subscribers to our CPD solution. So just get you to walk through a couple of these different scenarios with the CPD packages. And this, I guess, goes back to the diagram that we saw before, where we sort of navigate firms through to find out what suits them.
That's right, Aaron. Jackie in this example has 8 staff members. Once prior to COVID, they were all in a boardroom going through the session and the learnings. Now they're with that ability to work from home. They may be located across different locations. So that team-based training is limited as a result of the split of the team. So we've looked at Jackie's solution in this case here being a CPD business package, where the up to 5 staff members have access to the CPD. They all have a login, and they can actually undertake and have access to that to the platform for their webinars and those other events that are occurring. So similar in the solution for, and Jackie in this case, scenario number 2 is that the CPD, the staff require their own CPD in their own right. So that's where the CPD business package is suitable, as each have their own logins and have access through that material and assessment piece to have their own CPD certificates.
Yeah, and I think that's the really important distinction there, because whilst people might all individually go together in a room, if you do have that one individual CPD regular subscription, we are only going to provide the CPD certificate for the person that holds that registration. So in this scenario, giving access to everyone else here will give them the opportunity to, of course, get the certificate for their own particular circumstances as well. And the final one here, David?
Yeah, Jackie in this case here has access to CPD from other sources. Could be provided in-house. It could be from other providers. And you can see that she's attending events and conferences. So in this case here, she's had a discussion and come to the conclusion that it's really just a top up and having that ability to access Aaron and Tim and their knowledge for CPD. So they've taken up a CPD quarterly package.
Yep. So I guess there's a range of common questions that we get asked, and many of these we've already touched on today here, but I guess just to reiterate these to you, we do have a fully mobile responsive platform. So that means that when you access training, you'll be able to do it on the PC, you'll be able to do it on a laptop, tablet or mobile device. And we do hear stories of people, obviously, they might be on the train or something and they can sit there and they can watch it and listen to it whilst they're coming in to work. Not driving, of course, David, and doing that at the same time. But who is it relevant for? Yeah, who is it relevant for? Our training is catered for a broad depth of SMSF practitioners. So very deliberately, we have things like our foundations course that get people going, help them understand many of the concepts as they relate to self-managed super funds. So they might be graduates, they might be offshore teams, whereas we then have things like training such as our Changing Face of SMSF and even our masterclasses that are catered for specialists and those that are proficient in the self-managed super fund industry. Our CPD as an accredited educator, of course, we are providing for SMSF Association hours, but we also cover the major accounting bodies, Tax Practitioners Board, what was the old FASEA knowledge areas now that are under ASIC, SMSF Association, like I said, and also for audit hours. The access, we touched on this before, ultimately how you tap into the CPD is going to be incumbent upon what you do within your practice each and every day. We're not here to say only one person can listen into the webinar, but as we've already told you, we will only be issuing that one certificate for that one person unless they have a subscription package that covers all of those relevant team members as well. And there are some benefits, obviously, to being a member as opposed to doing this on a PAYG basis, because you have ongoing access to that material. You can go back into the platform at any point in time to be able to do that. If you purchase a webinar recording on a pay-as-you-go basis, we will literally send you a link to the recording, and there will be a time frame, a couple of weeks for you to access it, and then it is gone. So there is a substantial difference between the subscription access to PAYG access, just like it is in many other aspects of our platform. So I guess, David, as we wrap up today, we know that busyness is a real challenge in the industry, and therefore how people keep up to date is of huge relevance and importance. So we feel like there is a huge role that you can play in investing in yourself and your team if you are looking to operate in this SMSF space and operate to the depth of which it would require you to do so. That is going to allow you to have ongoing discussions and success with existing and new clients, and making sure that you can give them the quality of information that they would require, obviously, in running their own self-managed super fund. Our role is to naturally help you to get that information timely, accurate, and take advantage of situations as and when they arise, giving you the confidence to go out and practice in this area of self-managed super funds. And therefore, our members are tapping into that specialization that we have within our organization, and also through the technology that we have, that you can access it anytime you want at a pace that suits you, that you can access our documents and leverage integrations and other things that also will supplement the way in which you are looking at strategies and implementing things with many of your clients, and knowing that you've got access to support to help you navigate through some of those things, but do it in a way as efficiently and as cost effectively as possible. So we will send you after today a copy of the slides from today's session. I think, David, as we wrap up, I always say smart people stick together. Hopefully this has given everyone some insights into our CPD solutions, a little bit of the change that we'll be making as we move into the new financial year. We have a range of additional webinars coming up for July, including our quarterly Smarter SMSF update, where we go through all the things that we've been working on the Smarter SMSF platform, from documents, training, and the like. We'll also be touching on benefits of a document subscription, and later in the month, we'll be going through those changes to the SMSF Foundations course as well. So thank you once again for joining us for today's session. A thank you to you, David, as well. Any final things that you'd like to sort of say about today's session and the CPD solutions?
I might quickly add, Aaron, I'm going to take my hat off from the Smarter SMSF. No, don't be alarmed. That here is an opportunity to have access to both Aaron and Tim's knowledge as presenters and professionals in the SMSF environment. So yeah, it's something you can't basically let go. So I encourage you to contact us.
Yep. Very good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for today. Yes, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to get in contact with us. Have a great rest of the last few days of the financial year, and hope to see you at an event in the near future. Take care and bye for now.